Hi, everybody. This is James from Praagh, and you've seen me around, hopefully, maybe not. I've been around for 40 years working as a spiritual medium. A spiritual medium is someone who talks to dead people. They're really not dead because there is no death. But it's very interesting over the many, many years, and I've done this work in the books I've written and public appearances I've made, and on my online courses I've done, and Zoom calls and so forth, and my evenings of spirit that I do online also. People have often asked me this question. It's a common question that a lot of empaths, a lot of mediums, a lot of psychic people who are training to be mediums, they ask me, they say, James, I'm being bombarded by spirit. I just can't control it. They're all around me, which to me is like, they're thinking about it, right? So they're thinking about these things happening to them. Not good in that you really have to be centered in your being. You got to really know, first of all, know yourself, know your instrument, right? But there are certain things, techniques, if you will, or ways where you place your mind when you're open to spirit, when you're closed down. When students say to me, in the middle of the night, they wake me up and they bombard me, that's not right. And sometimes it's more of the person's own self, their own mind getting in the way. They're thinking about it, and you never should feel enslaved by the spirit world. They would never do that. That's more of the human mind. The human mind creates a lot of these fear, limitations. The spirit world would never do that. So it's usually the person's mind going at it. So that's not really how we do this. Learning to develop your mediumship, it takes time, but it's very important that you realize that, number one, you being this instrument, you being this lovely vessel for spirit, that you have a responsibility. And that responsibility is when I'm ready to work and when I'm not ready to work. And one has to be responsible and take care of this physical vessel, this energetic vessel, when they're working. When you work as a medium, you have to remember that your adrenal system is being used. It's being taxed. It's being pushed. So you've got to respect that. And everything needs to be in moderation and in balance. So when I'm ready to work, I'm ready to work. And I let the people up there, the people around me, the spirit people, my team, know I'm ready to work now. Some people would say to me, students would say to me, I was in this restaurant and there's a lady's mother was standing next to her, and I wanted to go and tell her that, but I just couldn't do that but I had to, and it's inappropriate, right? It's inappropriate, and there's no responsibility with that. So it's really important that you learn how to open up and close down when it's appropriate. So, but what I do, some techniques I've come up with and work really, really well, is that I know that when I'm on the clock and I'm working, there is a ritual I would do. And that ritual could be anything from using my visualization and imagining, if you will, that there's a curtain that's closed above my head. And when I'm ready to work, I will sit and open up 15 minutes before I do a reading, and I'll open up that curtain. And that curtain is more beautiful, beautiful light. And I'll put my mind in a space to receive. I'll even send out a prayer. Dear spirit friends, come close to me. And I'll say this prayer and invite them into that space. And that way I know, and they know, I'm ready to work. That's it. And then when I'm done working, I will visualize closing that curtain and closing it off. Okay? Another technique that I use is when I'm ready to work, I will put a light bulb. I imagine this beautiful light bulb, a light being turned on, and really luminosity goes everywhere, and I'm ready to work. And then when it's time to end, I close down. I turn that light off. It's another way. Another technique that a student once taught me, because I asked them, how would you get to that higher level and turn on to be open and then turn down, turn off? They said, I like to use an elevator. And I get on the elevator and I go up higher, these higher floors, maybe 10 floors or 30 floors, and I'll get to the roof. And I know by the time I get to the roof that I am open, and I tell the spirit I'm ready to receive. And they can imagine going out to a floor, a hallway, or a rooftop, or a big lobby, and they're ready to receive them. And then when they're finished, they get back in the elevator, the door closes, and they're going down, they're shutting down. And really what you're doing with that is you're really bringing up your power by doing those techniques and exercising that, and really working with that. Every time you do mediumship, you're actually bringing up the power. You're building up the power, and you're bringing up that vibration, that frequency, and it's going faster and faster and faster. So you're really doing that as well. You're opening up that space, preparing the space at that higher level of vibration for spirit to come through and use you. And when you're closing down, you're actually slowing down the vibration. So you're kind of doing two things at once. So that's really, really important, that you know how to open and how to close. And never should you ever be enslaved by, oh my God, the spirit's coming on to me and they won't leave me alone. That's wrong. And that's usually the mind of the person. So they would never do that to you. So this is why I've created Mediumship Certification Level 1 in my school. It's the first course in mediumship. It's a really good course to learn about discernment, learn how to open yourselves up and close down, and really be disciplined about it. I push the discipline. I'm a good teacher. I will say that. I honor that because I really want, it's my passion, and I really want you to do it the right way. So go to the JVP School of Mystical Arts. It's Mediumship Certification Level 1, and you'll get a lot of answers to, the questions you might have on your journey. So I'm there for you. I have open hours, school hours, and I can talk to you online as well there. So thank you very much for joining me today, and look forward to seeing you in school.